It's no secret that money is tight for most people right now. Thanks, inflation. So, if you're looking for ways to make money and to save money, you may be wondering, how much does the average American spend on food each month? How do they afford rent? And am I behind or am I ahead? Well, the answer is, it depends. For example, if you have children, you'll likely spend more on milk and cereal each month than the dinks next door. That's dual income, no kids. No shade on your neighbors. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks American spending on everything from groceries to housing. And they say that the average American household spends $5,577 each month. That's an average of $66,900 a year, which is just under the average annual income after taxes, $78,000. So we're not seeing a lot of room for error there. When it comes to budgeting and finding out ways to reduce your expenses, you don't want to settle for the average. Being above average in school, life, business, it's great. But when it comes down to your household expenses, you want to be below average. These get degrees, it turns out, and also a financial edge. Don't settle for average, because average spending is broke. The average American is spending hundreds of dollars on credit cards and car payments every month. No thanks. So here's a question. What is the average monthly cost of living by household for different sizes? You got a mom, dad, 2 kids, a pet, and a house. It sounds like the American dream, right? Well, that dream does come at a price. For a family of 4, the average cost of living is between $7,000 and about $8,500 per month, depending on how old your kids are. And some of you may be thinking, that's not very much. And some of you thinking, that's 2 or 3 times what we spend. And so there's a big range there, but we're looking at the averages. For a single person, the average cost per month is just $4,000. And for a married couple with no children, the cost per month is around $6,337. So you see there's a big range between someone who's single and someone who's got 2 kids or more. It makes sense. The more people in your household, the more money you spend. But where does the money go? So I've broken it down into a list of the top 10 expenses and outlined them as a percentage of the overall typical total expense. So we're looking at ratios here. For example, the first one is housing, 33.8%. Then you've got transportation, food, personal insurance, healthcare, entertainment, other expenses, cash, clothing, education. Those are the 10 categories, and I'll list all the different amounts right here. Keep in mind that these aren't percentages that you should be spending. This is not the goal. They're the averages that people are actually spending out there. An average is dull. You're called to have a vivid life, and that's what we're going to do with some goals down below when we break down each category. Let's take a look at what each expense covers and break it down by average monthly cost. Plus, I'll give you some tips on how you can go below average on some of these costs. Remember, below average is better. Housing costs an average of $1,886 per month. There's no shock here that it's the biggest expense for all people out there. That's a lot of money to pay for a place to live, and it doesn't just include rent, but it also covers mortgage payments, property taxes, home insurance, home repairs, gas and electric bills, and simple things like furniture. So that's all bundled into this one amount. To avoid being house poor when you spend too much of your income on housing, try to keep your rent or mortgage payments, plus the insurance, taxes, and HOA fees to a minimum of 25% of what you earn. I just like that clean number, 25%. It's a quarter of what you take home and you put it into your living expense. Living with your parents seems more and more appealing with these high numbers, but getting your own place is worth it. And getting the right place that won't ruin the rest of your expenses down the list is key. Next one is the average monthly cost of transportation in the United States of America is $913. That's airfare, gas, insurance, repairs, everything to get you from A to B. And let's face it, we love our cars here in the United States. The average cost of a new car in the United States is over $700 a month. That's the car payment that people are paying. Don't spend hundreds of dollars a month on a car that depreciates as soon as it rolls off the lot. The numbers, they're just not there. I talk about that all the time. I'm all about getting a used car and leveling up the quality based on what you actually take home. It's no shock that food comes in at number 3 with an average monthly cost of $691. That's a lot of Costco hot dogs and pizza slices. On average, Americans are spending $438 on food at home, and $253 at restaurants. That includes fast food and impulse fourth meals and snacks on the road. If you're looking to reduce your food expenses at home and outside, meal planning is the way to go. When you plan out your meals ahead of time, you'll be less likely to make impulse buys and more likely to stick to the essentials. Plus, you won't be tempted to hit the drive-thru because you don't know what you'll be having for dinner. Your waistline will thank me later. The average American spends over $600 on personal insurance and pensions each month, which is a bit less than a month's worth of food. It might seem like a lot, and it kinda is. When they say personal insurance, they basically mean life insurance, and it costs around $39 per month on average for the typical American. I suggest term life insurance because everything else out there is basically a scam. Why does the average American spend more than $600 on pension? Well, it's because the Social Security tax that's taken out of your paycheck is lumped together with personal insurance and pensions as a category. And that Social Security tax comes out of your paycheck is at 6.2%. Thanks, Uncle Sam. The average cost of healthcare is $454 per month. That includes health insurance premiums and the cost of out-of-pocket medical services and prescriptions. $454 per month is a large sum of money for most Americans, particularly those with a family. And you think, I've got insurance, why doesn't it cover all this extra cost? Well, that's just how the nature of the system works. In 2021, the cost of healthcare increased by 5.3% just in that 1 year. That's another victim of inflation. You can't reduce healthcare costs by cutting your health insurance premiums, but you can save money by staying in-network or using a health savings account. Americans spend on average $297 a month on entertainment. That's our next big category. It's not just because movie tickets are nearly 20 or 30 bucks now. It's about watching TV, using streaming services, and having hobbies like bird watching or basket weaving. And if you own a dog or another pet, you can spend even more. The average American spends about $64 on pets each month. And honestly, that seems kind of low for Fido. Our next category is other expenses, and it is what it sounds like. $234 is kind of the bucket per month for other things that don't quite fit in any of the other categories. Our family also calls this discretionary on our budget, where each of us gets a set amount of fun money. This category includes a wide variety such as personal care products and services, books, alcohol, other vices. When you're looking for a place to start cutting back, most people start here, and it's not a bad idea. Sometimes it's low-hanging fruit to be able to say, well, I guess I'm just not going to do that this month. But how far will you get with 2% less of miscellaneous items versus 2% less in your total food expense? When you look at the bigger category and you adjust your spending there, you see a bigger return. And that's a key approach that I see with a lot of families out there. The total amount of cash contributions in this category is $201 per month. That amount includes charitable giving as well as payments for child support and alimony if that's something you got going on. It even includes any money that you spend on a college student's room and board, not tuition, but all the other expenses. $200 is not nothing, but it's less than 5% of the average monthly expense. And so when you take out all the cost of college and child support and all the other things that people are having to pay for, I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of old school and I recommend giving away 10% of your take-home pay. I believe in goodwill, karma, supernatural blessing that comes from blessing others. And so I think that's a key aspect of any budget that I look at. The cost of clothes and services averages about $146 per month. Don't even get me started on shoes. Shoes cost Americans an average of $28 per month. I mean, how many shoes could you possibly need? You only have 2 feet. Education is another big expense, and if you're paying for a child's college or private school, it's going to be a lot more expensive. $100 is about average for all Americans. The average college tuition in the US is around $9,000 a year, or about $800 a month. That's more than the cost of food, which has been on the rise lately. In the last year, most Americans have seen their monthly expenses go up due to inflation. The annual rate of inflation for all items was 5% in March of 2023. But some costs have gone up even more than that. For example, the cost of food has gone up by 8.5%, and the cost of shelter, also known as your housing, if you got an apartment or a house, has gone up by almost 8%. That's a lot more than 5%. Energy bills have also gone up by almost 9%. Now, that's a lot to run an AC unit this summer. All three of those are essentials and what I call the four wheels of your financial vehicle. So the bottom line is that most Americans are spending more money to keep up with inflation. Here's what you can do today. Make a budget for all your expenses. Armed with the ratios above, give yourself a report card. Only you have control of your financial fate. Create a zero-based monthly budget where every dollar gets a job to do, and pay attention to your ratios. Set a goal of making 2% shifts in those key categories to get closer to where you would like for them to be. Check out one of my videos on a 50-30-20 budget. It's a great place to start. A budget is you giving yourself permission to spend and to stop stressing over every dollar. We work hard for our money, so we deserve for it to work hard for us.